Ready to rock, pop it.
Ella, are you on? Okay, I think it's on.
Sees me. It's looking at me.
Okay. That will press at the last moment.
On and beautifully framed. I guess.
Look at us. We've got cameras.
3 of them.
They're everywhere. 3. Will, I feel like I'm being watched.
I don't. Does your laptop have a webcam too built in?
Yes, it does. 5 cameras.
We could totally record on webcams on the laptop too.
I don't even know if I have a driver installed for that, to be honest. But we could.
I'm gonna try. I don't even know how to do that actually. This photo booth.
Well, yeah, and then you can use iMovie to do it direct.
Or computer. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. This is what you do to us, internet. You make us get 3 cameras, 1 being a real video camera, 2 being point and shoots with video recording capability, and then 2 built-in webcams. This is your fault. Import from camera.
I'm sorry, I'm working on my Ubuntu box today because it's my netbook since it's a travel episode. So you're not going to get any spectacular shots of me from my laptop. But you will see me there. And there. And anyway, don't you really want to be looking at Will? I mean, let's be real. Right?
Okay. We can only talk for 10 hours because that's all
the hard disk space you have?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can't minimize you. You suck. Can I just, okay. You'll at least stay in the background. Good enough for me.
Alright, we ready to go?
I think we are.
I'm so nervous.
We can get recorded on this bad boy.
This is our 21st episode. I'm not used to doing stuff like this yet.
I know, especially because we're all like in the same room. You can also see that we're using very advanced technology for this. We've got a box and playing cards to get Ben framed properly.
I'm just recording what we're doing for posterity. Alright, recording.
Okay, get Ben going. Cool, okay. Recording, 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 recording. No video drivers on it.
I think we're ready.
As ready as we can be.
Quite possibly.
So, for you people that are watching the video, this probably won't be in the podcast. This is our first, well, no, this won't be in the podcast. I'm just going to shut up because...
Why will this be in the podcast?
No, this won't be. Oh, well. What I was going to say will probably be... This is too much pressure. It's not just a microphone with Ben on the other side. It's a microphone here, Ben right there drinking his coffee, so I have to look at him, make eye contact. 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras all recording.
Mm.
I can't take it.
It feels so professional.
Too much. I'm out. I'm out.
You're a diva. Come on, you're the star of the show. Let's get this thing going.
Okay.
This feels closer to me than it is to you.
It's close. It's right on the line.
That's right. Alright, here we go. 10 minutes of silence.
Fine.
Going good! Alright.
And now, live from Berlin, it's the Zipline Show.
Hello everyone, hello world, and especially hello Berlin. This is Ben.
And this is Will, not leaning into the microphone because I'm scared and need to read what's on the page. And you're listening to our first in-studio, live on location, in Berlin specifically, episode 21 episode.
We've traveled across the ocean, we've traveled across the Alps, we've traveled across the freezing streets of Berlin to bring you a very special travel episode.
And today we're going to give you some super handy tips for your tech when you start going the distance too.
So I've been having a great time in Berlin. How about you, Will?
It's cold, but it's been awesome.
It's actually very cold. I hope you guys got a chance to check out our video postcard, which was supposed to be an audio postcard, but then I forgot my H2 handy recorder that I used to record the Schmookine episode. So we've been kind of podcast recorderless, which is why we're just doing an in-studio podcast. That's my fault. My bad, Will.
I thought it actually worked out pretty well. Video postcards are better than audio postcards.
But then they have to see us freezing. Like in the video, like my nose is red, I've got a scarf on, my eyes are closed from the wind. But, I mean, you're all Nordic. You got the beard and like you're just like, -5 degrees. Excellent.
It's too hot if it's not below freezing. If you can have bare skin, it's too warm. You know,
we did have bare skin.
Yeah, and it was too warm.
Let me just say, putting on those t-shirts, so, you know, we're in there, we're wearing our new Zipline Show t-shirts.
Which are amazing.
Available for purchase on the ziplineshow.com. We're wearing these t-shirts, but previous to us wearing these t-shirts, we had like sweaters and coats and gloves and hats, and we were all kitted out. And we sort of like ducked behind Checkpoint Charlie and just like stripped off and like ran to go take the video.
The original plan was to get the entire group of people traveling with us out there doing it, but it was really cold and we didn't want to subject them to that.
Although our wives boldly stepped up to the plate, which, you know, was nice of them.
They get credit for at least trying.
True fans of the show.
Oh man. So I just realized we got a new problem with the whole being recorded on video. If I get something in my eye, I can't just like rub it and still sound graceful because I look like a dork.
Hello!
Yeah, if you're listening to just the podcast version of this episode, you're missing out. We've got this ridiculous setup going. We've got Ben's video camera. Oh, yeah, you have no idea what he's doing right now if you're just listening to the audio version. We've got his video camera recording both of us. I've got my point and shoot facing me, so I'm looking at that right now, and you. Then we've got Ben's wife's, not wives, because that would be like the camera of your multiple wives. I hate language. Anyway, and then I've even got this camera over here, the built-in webcam on my laptop recording. So, you know what? If you're just listening to the audio version, stop right now, go to the ziplineshow.com, find the video version, and watch that. It will be way more fun.
Or possibly scarring for life.
Same thing.
Anyway, so we're traveling in Europe, and Will's been living in Europe for a while, and we thought today we'd do a little show about technology while you're traveling. And we're going to start up with the first very basic thing, and that's how do you do anything without a cell phone? Like meet people and arrange locations and scheduling and times. It's crazy.
It's incredibly difficult. And, you know, we only know one person in Berlin, so we figured, it'll be fine. But no, if we want to get a hold of that one person, we have to like leave a Facebook message, then hope they see it. Traveling without a cell phone is a pain.
And I mean, I realize that people have been meeting other people for thousands of years without cell phones.
No, they haven't.
No?
No.
Everyone's
urban legend, common misconception.
I see. It was a bit stressful. We got off the plane and at Tegel Airport, and we're coming into we actually have this very sweet apartment. I don't know if you can see it, but we're in an apartment. And we're trying to meet Will, and we don't know where they are, and they're on the train, and we're trying to use Twitter, actually. We're direct messaging each other on Twitter. That's how we did the bulk of our communication until we went into sort of this communications blackout. But the reason that we didn't have our phones is because we had to leave them behind in Washington, D.C. They don't work here.
No, and actually we did an entire episode on the Verizon iPhone and the whole, different kinds of networks, what works where. But we just want to rehash some of the key points because when you actually do start traveling, it's very, it's challenging. There's a lot of stuff to take into account with your cell phones. So the big thing obviously is over here pretty much everything is GSM instead of, a mix of CDMA, GSM over in the States. Sorry. Again, that was a video thing for audio podcast listeners. So, people that are on Verizon coming over here, you're totally out of luck. Your phone is not going to work. People on AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint? Did we say it was GSM?
Yes, I believe we said Sprint was GSM.
Okay, so if Sprint is indeed GSM and we were not mistaken with that, then Sprint people, your phone might work over here. The big challenge is they use slightly different frequencies over here, so what you're looking for is a quad band GSM phone. If you're not sure if your phone is going to work, check the tech specs. It should say quad band in there, or under frequency it'll list 4 different numbers.
When you go to Verizon and you actually get one of the global phones, I think your choice is pretty much BlackBerry. You don't really have a choice. Although I did see that Droid has come out with a Droid Global X, and what those mean is that they have a secondary chipset that allows for global communication, plus they have partners with some provider in Europe. So Verizon and Vodafone generally team up very well. I can't take it. What's the look for? Am I saying something wrong? Why'd you get that look at the camera? It's so hard in the studio.
We've never done a podcast in even the same country before, so I'm taking every opportunity to make this as awful for Ben as I can. So I'll just stare at him.
I'm so used to being wrong, I just assume that I'm saying the wrong thing.
This is going to change the entire dynamic of the podcast. After we do one together in the same room, over Skype, it's just, I don't know.
It's not going to be the same.
It's going to be empty and sad.
Soulless.
What were we saying?
How do we come back from that? What I was saying is, and even with AT&T, it'll team up with O2 or Orange or something in the, I was going to say United Kingdom, because that's where I lived when I was here, but in Europe, T-Mobile is also a big one. If you have T-Mobile in the United States, then T-Mobile is huge in Europe. You probably actually have better T-Mobile service in Europe or anywhere else in the world than you will in the United States.
Yeah, so there are definitely options. You could get a service plan from your existing provider in the United States, essentially saying, hey, I'm going overseas, bump me up to a plan that covers overseas usage. These can be fairly spendy, actually. So.
Cha-ching!
Yeah, not for you though, for the phone companies.
No, for you. It's going to be like $60 a month extra just for
Cha-ching. So the phone companies get the cha-ching, you give away the cha-ching.
Yeah, you hate to hear the cha-ching.
Yes.
Because that's your money going into the till.
So there are these options. You can just upgrade to one of these plans, pay out the butt. But the thing about this is that you'll probably, if you're doing a short trip, it's not worth it. Like if you're only going to be over here for 5 days or something, probably not worth upgrading to a $60 a month super plan for coverage. The other options are you can just get localized SIM cards if you're using a GSM phone. You can basically show up in the country, if you've got one of those quad band GSM phones, then you can buy a SIM card that just gives you, 30 minutes of use or whatever, pop it in your phone, and you are good to go. Very, very handy if you're only going to be in one country. A little bit of a weirdness, that's what we're doing in Austria. We've got prepaid SIM cards, but when we got into Germany, it suddenly went to SIM not allowed. So T-Mobile Austria and T-Mobile Germany do not do shared billing on the prepaid cards. So if you're staying in one country, that's a good option. If you'll be hopping between multiple countries, a little bit trickier.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, one of my favorite tactics too is to just grab a burner phone rather than bring your cell phone with all of your data and everything that could potentially get lost in Europe. Just grab a cheap burner phone. Or better yet, save your old GSM phone, your old AT&T phone, or your old, I don't know, if you ever had a prepaid phone like from Boost Mobile or Cricket or something. Save those phones. I think a lot of people just sort of throw them in a closet somewhere, but if you know someone that's going to Europe, then you can hook them up with that phone, and then all they have to do is buy a €5, €10 phone card to slap on their phone, and then they have cell phone service.
Yeah, that's, I'm probably going to do that. I've got BlackBerry right now, it's quad band. I'm just going to, when I upgrade my cell phone, I'm just going to chuck that in the bag, so if I ever go to Europe, I can just grab my cheap BlackBerry and bring it with, and everybody will be happy.
And here's the thing, there are no payphones here in Europe. I know you want to say that there are a lot, but compared to when I first showed up in Europe to today, which is 8 years maybe since I've been traveling in Europe, there are a significantly decreased number of payphones.
When we do the video cut, it's just going to be me being like this the entire time you're talking there.
I know. What do you want to say?
So, yes, alright.
There are more payphones in the United States.
I don't know about that.
You think there's more payphones in the United States than there are here?
No, I think there are more payphones here.
Right, that's what I was saying. There are more here than there are in the United States.
But you just said...
But it's still, I don't know, did I mess up?
I thought you said that we weren't finding payphones here in Europe.
It's difficult. I'm saying that there's a decreasing number of payphones in Europe.
Okay, yes, so can we agree that across the board there are fewer payphones in the world today than there were 10 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, so...
See.
Yeah, so any of the agreement words. So yeah, there are fewer payphones to be found, but I would say that there are more payphones here than in the States. Like, it's easier to find a payphone in Europe right now than it is to find a payphone in the States right now. Unless you're in an airport. Like, it's been years since I've seen a payphone on a corner in the US, and here you walk by like 6 when you're out walking.
Right, and this is the thing, you walk by them and you see them smashed up, they're not working, and they're not getting repaired, or they're not under the same amount of maintenance that they used to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they're also, and in Germany at least, they're all owned by T-Mobile. They're usually owned by the semi-nationalized telecom that's available at the time, especially in England too, because the telecoms are becoming more privatized. BT is losing market share rapidly, and so the payphones of BT, owned, they're starting to go by the wayside even faster. Germany is sort of a single provider network with T-Mobile. You don't really have a whole lot of other choices, just some smaller companies. But once T-Mobile starts fracturing, if they do any sort of privatization, you're going to see an even increasing, or an even faster, more schnell. More schnell decreasing payphones. But what I'm saying is, like, these cell phone solutions are important because you can't just trust that your hotel is going to have a phone that you can use. Just like the rest of the world, everyone's going to cell phones, and everyone has a cell phone.
Yeah, it's a very important point. So if you absolutely need to have phone service, cell phone's the only way to go. There are payphones out there, but, last night we walked by one, and they have, like, glass sides that just kind of hang, glass panels to give you, like, side coverage. One of those was all smashed up and just gone. So you can't necessarily trust that the cell phones will be... No, you can't. The cell phones are good. You can't trust that the payphones are going to be there for you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about data. So one of Jackie's favorite things to do is, if we're in a restaurant or something, we're in a discussion about something and we want to find the answer, immediately go to Google on the cell phone. When you're traveling, data is going to be a huge bummer. You're not going to get data very easily. And if you are going to bring your cell phone over here, this is how not to get a $30,000 bill. You need to shut off everything. You need to put it in airplane mode. Mike's here with us. You might remember him from such episodes as episode 4, Meet an Artist. He's in Berlin with us, and he brought his iPhone, and he had to turn off basically everything but Wi-Fi. The 3G, the push data, the email notifications, you had to turn off pretty much everything. And he's actually doing something interesting, is he's using Skype on Wi-Fi to call back home, which is a great idea because Skype's on cell phones. You can only use it through the Wi-Fi, so he's connecting to the Wi-Fi here at our apartment, and then calling back with Skype. That would be another good idea.
Yeah, data just not... Ugh. Even with the prepaid SIM cards, you can get data service with them, but it's a hassle to set up. If you're using a BlackBerry, then you need to worry about the whole BlackBerry email server issue, whether that's going to localize properly. It's just a colossal pain, not even taking into account the expense. So, all data, off. No data. No want-to-eat data in Europe. Unless you're going to be here for a long time, in which case you're probably going to be getting like a month-to-month plan. In which case you'll find data rates are very, very cheap and quite awesome.
That's only if you live here.
Yeah, that's only if you live here. If you're visiting, not a good solution. Also, the camera that was recording Ben, it didn't. We thought the battery was going to be the limiting factor. No, the memory card's full. So.
Bummer. Should probably empty that out before we start here today.
We don't prepare. So what I might try to do is like use my camera, move it, and put it on Ben every now and then.
Okay.
Just be crazy.
I mean, you're on the webcam, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Hi. So,
power.
Yeah.
Give me electricity.
Sound like more like bees or mad grasshoppers than electricity, didn't it?
Mm.
Well, I'm trying, but yes, power. So, power is actually simultaneously the most confusing and oftentimes most easily solved issue with traveling to Europe. Everybody knows that, well, I don't know if I can say everybody, most people know that you need to be worried about powering your devices when you go to Europe. If you're bringing a laptop, bringing a camera, if you're bringing your cell phone, it's tying it back to the last or if you're bringing your blender, you need
your Xbox. You might remember such power difficulties as episode 00, sound test.
Stupid.
Plugging an Xbox into Europe.
Stupid Xboxes, I hate them. But, so, there are concerns with bringing devices over to Europe. However, the beauty is, you probably don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, as it turns out, modern communication devices are fairly global. So that's the good news. If you have a converter, something that takes AC to DC, which that would be your laptop, your phone, your camera, they usually all go from AC to DC. Anything that goes into USB is DC. So if you have any of those things, just look on the little brick and it should say 100 to 240 volts at 50 to 60 hertz. If it says that, then you just plug it straight into the wall with a plug converter. It's easy. Computers sometimes have a switch on the back of them that you can set it from 110 to 240 if the power source is inside the computer. But with laptops, the power source is external to the computer and it's just a battery that's inside your computer. So yeah, just plug it in. Get a plug adapter.
Yeah, so to clarify some of that stuff, that kind of roots around. There are two main things you need to worry about with the power. One is the voltage, which is basically how much electricity you're getting. US uses about 110 volts. Europe is more like 220 volts. So that's the big trick, is you need to make sure that's fine. And then the frequency is also different. Frequency is just how often the power switches direction, if you know anything about alternating current. US is 60, Europe is 50?
Correct.
Yes. So, just look on your power adapter. You want to make sure that it has something between about 100 and 240 volts and a 50/60 on there. Generally, if it has the full voltage range, it's also going to be 50/60, but you just want to double check that to make sure. If your power adapter only says like 100 to 120 and then it has a 60 below it, do not bring that to Europe. You will fry it and kill it and it will be sadnesses. So don't bring that to Europe. You need to make sure it's got that full range and the 50/60. There are options to convert the power. There are these gigantic, heavy, energy inefficient beasts that you can plug into a socket over here in Europe, and then it turns it into normal US power.
Oh, let's not call it normal. We don't want to isolate our European listeners.
Okay, turns it into standardized US power.
Turns it into less powerful US power.
Less powerful US power.
Yeah, actually the reason that it's 110 is because our government's a little bit more paternalistic and they were afraid that we'd all electrocute ourselves. So that's why it's 110 here. Europeans get things charged faster.
But isn't the deal that a 220 volt line has half the amperage?
Yes, so it's also maternalistic on the European side.
I think you just made a hilarious joke, but I'm not sure how to respond to it.
Sorry, double D nerds, you can have fun with that
one. Good luck. But no, point being that the vast majority, insufficient space on card, I just emptied you out. Have we been talking for 20 minutes?
I think we have.
Holy Hannah. Well, we're down to one camera, folks. We filled up the cards in our point and shoots. Good to know. That's 5 gigs of data we gotta sort through now. Okay, turning that off. But anyway, so the point with the power is that just check your adapter. Odds are electronic devices are going to work fine. Electric razors are a little hit and miss. Some are fine, some aren't.
I think the rule is if it's in your crumpler bag, then go ahead and plug it in. I mean, always check because that's your baby's in your crumpler bag. But if it's in the bathroom, you're going to start a fire.
Yeah.
And your hair dryer, your curler, your massager, all those things, fire. Yeah. Actually, that was from a movie. Eurotrip? No, that wasn't Eurotrip. Anyway, if it's in the bathroom, you're going to start a fire. Don't take it. If it's in your crumpler bag, then you should be good to go.
And really, that's going to cover the majority of things. I don't know too many people that go on vacation and bring a blender or microwave or fridge. Any kitchen appliances are a gigantic red flag for multiple reasons. One, I don't think you can get a fridge in a carry-on anymore, so you can't fly it over here.
I know. It used to be that you could pretty much do anything on a carry-on.
I know.
TSA, those guys.
No fridges, no microwaves. What if I wanted to have a burrito mid-flight? What would I do?
I don't know.
Lame. I'm going to riot.
Although I will say, on our international flight, we did have 110 and 240 power on the flight. So we had our choice of power and power adapter.
Very nice.
I know, it was right in the seat. It was actually very, very cool.
That's fancy.
It was fancy.
Oh, so just to clarify a little more, if your adapter can take the voltage and the frequency differences, then you just need a physical converter. These things can be grabbed on Amazon for about $3 a piece. I mean, I picked up 5 of them when we came over here. And you just pop them in the wall socket here that's got the 2 little pointy prongs, like the 2
circles. Or 3 if you're in the UK.
Or 3 if you're in the UK. And then it's got your normal happy face, smiling US plug on the other side of it.
Again, not normal, just United States.
Yeah, normal.
We love you, Berlin.
I hate you, international listeners. See, it's dichotomy, it's conflict between the host that makes the show more interesting and draws in the listener. Or viewer.
Alright, so let's talk about getting on the internet.
Okay, internet. Basically, if you're traveling in Europe, you've got one option, and that's Wi-Fi.
Yep. There are a couple more channels on European Wi-Fi than there are on US Wi-Fi, so there's a little bit more of a spectrum here. FCC, we're looking at you.
Grr.
But everything should be the same. Just open up your laptop or even your phone and find a hotspot and connect to it. Here's the thing though. I've been in Berlin for a while now. I lived in England for 2 years. Open hotspots, not that normal here.
No, Europe is going to be a shock to people. Wi-Fi is not common, and even if you can find it, it is very rarely free. And even if you can find it, and it's free, it's probably going to be pretty poopy compared to a US Wi-Fi hotspot. So be prepared for a little bit of a shock on that one. Like here, we do have free Wi-Fi in the apartment, so we can connect, but it's like around 1 meg, which, if that. Most connections at home are 8, 10.
At least, and I mean, even if they're serving 30 or 40 people, some of the bigger Starbucks, they're still able to handle the data load. But here, so it's like, I've got my netbook, Will's got his laptop, Jackie and Mary Jo have their laptops, we have
Mike
phones,
has his iPhone.
We have 2 iPods that are connected.
I've got a tablet.
A tablet computer is connected. How many wireless devices do we have? And they're just dragging the internet down. Yesterday, I watched Egg Cup and Spoon. It took how long to load the video?
So that was at...
Oh, that's right. That was at a museum.
We went to a museum and tried to load a YouTube video, and even that was slow. Like, internet just... And this is the crazy thing, because like a residential service here, you can get a 20 megabit per second connection for dirt cheap. Like, the home connections are fantastic, but all the publicly accessible internet options are just horrible. I don't know, it's kind of a weird dichotomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, okay, so here's a bit of trivia. I guess, I don't know if this is a brand name or not, but the wireless hotspots that we're using is called Hotspots. Hotspots.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, does that mean hotspot?
I have no idea.
Hot place?
It might.
Yeah,
Okay.
that actually does sound like hot place.
It does.
Like Potsdamer Platz.
Oh my. Oh,
it is a hot place. It's hot from all the computers that are connected to the wireless.
I know. Camera people, laptops.
But what's interesting about our hotspot is that we have to put in, like, they have these sort of randomly generated username and passwords that they hand out on little pieces of paper.
We're trying to find.
We're on video. We're trying to find one so we can show the camera, but
I don't have any.
And then they expire after it looked like 168 hours, and then
so
that username and password expires, and so that's an interesting way of controlling access, but for free. So you can't do it.
That actually ties into the security bit pretty well, because the deal is that the network itself is open. There's no encryption going from your laptop to the base station.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hit the base station, then you get a web page, and that's where you log in. So although you have a username and password, it's not actually giving you any security on the network itself, because open Wi-Fi networks, as most people should know, if you don't know, then boo, are completely, they're essentially broadcast medium. Anybody on the Wi-Fi network sees all of the traffic on the Wi-Fi network, which is nasty, isn't it, Ben?
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that, but I will say that there is a little bit of ignorance when it comes to wireless networks. People just assume that their data is being encrypted, especially username and password. I mean, if it appears as little black dots in that box, that must mean that people can't see it, right?
Of course.
Of course, no.
We're being silly, not true. Don't.
There's probably someone sitting next to you in Panera with Fire Sheep session hijacking your Facebook login. Probably.
If people haven't heard about this, this is a perfect example of why. Fire sheet.
Oh, go ahead. Quick brief introduction.
So the deal is that on an open Wi-Fi network, everybody can see all the traffic. So there's a tool out there called Firesheet that actually, if you can catch someone logging into Facebook, you can steal their Facebook session and do anything you want on Facebook as them. So that's the great peril of an unencrypted network, that pretty much anybody on the network can do anything they want to your traffic.
Mm-hmm. So internet cafes are big in Europe, and that might be a reason that wireless hotspots are not. So if you're at an internet cafe, if you're at an open wireless, just the number one thing is use SSL. That's that'll encrypt your HTTP traffic. If you're going to Gmail, just type, like, in the, where it says http://www.gmail.com. Just tag a little S after the HTTPS, and then you're going to be going to Google over SSL. Your banks, that should be pretty well automatic. You should see the little lock in the side of the browser window. It's different for different browsers, but if you see a lock in a green bar, usually that means you're good to go. So for banks, that should be automatic. For Gmail, for Facebook, and for many other services, if you just type in https:// domain name, then it should bring you to an SSL encrypted connection with that website and that website alone.
Yeah, you actually want to watch that, because some sites are frustrating in that if you try to connect with a secure connection, it will go to a normal connection. So after you type it in, you need to make sure that you see the blue bar, the green bar, the padlock to actually confirm you have a secure connection. And then odds are any link on that page is probably not going to be secure. So you need to watch that too. Facebook does now have an option in there where you can force it to use a secure connection all the time.
So does Gmail.
So does Gmail. You should be doing this even in the States if you're not traveling. Go in there, check that box. Always use a secure connection. It's happier for everybody.
Yeah. Remember to clear out your cache, clear out your passwords when you're done with a public computer.
Actually, a warning on this. So if you are not using your own laptop, if you're using an internet cafe or you just sit down at a computer, you need to be very, very careful. If you don't have control over the system, then there are actually ways where all the SSL in the world will not save you. They could actually be stealing your password as you type it in. So limit what you do on the internet. Try to avoid, definitely do not do banking on one of those public computers. That's just a bad idea. And even if you check your email, when you get back home, change your email password just to make sure. I know it sounds paranoid, but all it takes is one bad instance, and then you will be the most security-minded, paranoid person ever.
Yeah. So, I may or may not have a story about that in Egypt, but I was in a situation
yeah.
where I had to do banking in Egypt, and I noticed that some of the computers were looking a little bit fishy, so I ended up having to ask the hotel manager to use the hotel business computer, and that seemed okay over SSL. I didn't see any keyloggers or any fishy stuff, but I mean, if you're traveling in Europe, there's some pretty shady places. You just have to be careful. Another way, I would highly recommend using your own machine. Like I said, it's going to travel well to Europe, and at least you can be more secure that what you're actually pressing into the keyboard is not going to be logged. And then if you really want to be super secure, set up a VPN or a proxy or something, connect to the VPN, and then you won't even be on the same IP network as the wireless network that you're around, and that might also do increased security.
That's definitely for probably the more technically inclined, but yeah, if you can set up a VPN, then if you're on an unsecured network, it doesn't make a lick of difference. The VPN encrypts everything the second it leaves your machine. So VPNs equal goodnesses. And actually, I'd argue that if you can pick up a netbook for like $300 and you're going to need to be doing stuff on the internet in Europe, netbook for $300 is probably worth it. I mean, you're probably already dropping like $1,000 on a plane ticket. What's another $300 to get a netbook? Plus, then you got a netbook.
So, speaking of our virtual private network, we want you to get involved with the show, and you are the nodes in our virtual private network.
Oh man.
Segway win!
Yes, people on the video. Did you see how smug that man was looking? And he's doing a victory dance. He is doing a victory dance. Yes, we love our network of listeners. We've been getting comments on stuff, we've been getting feedback on stuff, and it's fantastic. The ZiplineShow.com is kind of the central hub of all things Zipline. You can comment directly on our show posts. You can leave constructive feedback saying you guys are idiots, you got this wrong, we hate you. Oh wait, that's not constructive.
That's kind of constructive.
Kind of constructive. So
I mean, it helps take our self-esteem down.
Keeps the heads
keeps
being
it low.
too big, and keeps us down to earth, real man. Keeps us real. So yeah, ZiplineShow.com. We also got a contact form on there. You can email us if you're into that. We got all our Twitter information on there and whatnot. Kind of our central hub.
Yeah, I mean, even at the very least, just go to iTunes, rate us 5 stars, write us a review. That's kind of the thing we've been asking since the very beginning. Just help get our little show out there, and one of the ways to do that is to rate us 5 stars, and that will bring it to the attention of more people, and then we'll have a wider network of people to do things and help us out, listen to our awesome show, and so that's kind of what we're going for.
I was just looking at iTunes. You know how they have the popularity bars on songs? A couple of our podcasts have a full popularity bar.
So thank you, listeners. Just stop though.
Yeah, no, keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
It's not enough until we rule the world.
Yeah, and reviews are great too. We just, we want to hear what you're saying, give us some feedback so that we can improve our show and make it better for you to listen.
Then there's the all-powerful Facebook. Facebook is the big one. If you just comment or send us an email, we might not know who you are. If you like us on Facebook, then we know who you are. We can actually contact you directly, and it'll be grand and happy. Just go to facebook.com, https facebook.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some colons and slashes in there. You don't need those, whatever. Search for The Zipline Show. We should pop right up, and then like our page, and then you'll get notifications on Facebook when new episodes come out.
Yeah, and then we also, we will talk to you on Facebook. Will and I are real people. We exist.
No.
As you might be able to see.
If you're watching the video, this is all CG.
It's all CG.
Actually, we should have hung up the green screen, and I could.
The unnatural, the uncanny valley.
Ben is lodged firmly in that valley.
I'm definitely uncanny. Like a fox. Like a bear. Like a golden bear. Anyway. The last thing is, if, we're just going to keep this interlude a little bit shorter than usual, but... Well,
we say that about all things, and then 2 hours later.
Maybe with good editing, this will be shorter than usual. But last thing is, if you want to be one of our zippies, that means posting flyers on your college campus, getting campus participation up. If you want a T-shirt, you want to do a little album art for us, anything that you want to contribute to the show, you'll become a zippy of ours. We'd be glad to have you. Send us an email, say you want to be a Zippy, and pretty much we will evaluate you for your awesomeness on a scale from 1 to 5, from fireworks awesome to Captain America awesome.
Yes, and you know we're very selective, but yeah. I don't know. I just kind of want to tell them that they email us, they're gonna get the job.
I don't want to tell them that.
Okay.
College students like competition, right?
Yeah, we didn't tell you that.
All right. Ich verstehe nicht.
What? Wie bitte? Welcome
Ich tut mir leid.
What?
Ich tut mir leid.
Es tut mir leid.
Ich möchte Kaffee mit mir. Bitte.
Welcome to the language barrier, folks. You know, if you're traveling in Europe, Europe is kind of silly in that they've got like 900 million different countries, each with about 17,000 languages each. So you're going to encounter a lot of different languages in Europe. Even if you go to England, they're speaking British English, which, as we all know, is ridiculous and insane. Just alienated an entire island there.
Yeah, Europe's going to love us.
You know, we're in Berlin, Germany, so German is obviously the big language here.
Ja, sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Nein. And that's kind of one of the problems with traveling, is you're going to run into this language barrier.
So there are some technological things that can help you out here. Certainly, you probably should pick up a phrase book, just so you have something to carry around with you. But if you do bring your phone into the country with you, we got a couple tools.
Yes. So iPhone is one of the big ones. There are a ton of different iPhone apps centered around translation. There are basic apps where you just type in a word and then it spits out the English translation. You know, the basic ones, kind of what Google Translate does. So if you have a web connection, you can use Google Translate for that sort of thing. iPhone also have apps. Oh goodness. iPhone also has apps where you can record people speaking and it will then translate it and either spit out text or an English spoken version of what they just said. Now obviously you can replace any input language with any output language, just throwing that out there. And then there's the cool iPhone app where you can just take a picture of a sign and translates that, which I personally think is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For web pages, you can use Google Translate. If you go to google.com, and note that you'll probably have to force it because Google is naturally going to want to go to google.de in Germany's case, or google.co.uk in England's case, or google.cn in China.
Throw in a little note, if you scroll to the bottom, then there's generally google.com in English.
Right, and so you get to yourself to google.com, and when you do searches, especially Google Maps searches, a little bar will appear that says, oh, this page appears to be in German. There's a little drop-down box so you can say, oh, no, it's not German, it's Austrian or something. And it says, would you like to translate this page? And you hit yes, and then you get a fairly well done, automatically machine-translated page that has some weirdness. There are a couple places where maybe names don't really translate correctly, or the sentence structure is a little weird, but it's enough for you to understand, certainly. So that's one good way if you're trying to make reservations to a restaurant, if you're trying to get shows or tickets to something. You know, Google Translate's a big help with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like Ben said, it's going to be close, not perfect. For people that know language, mechanical translators can do pretty decent translation, but will never be, you know, perfectly human translation.
Well, don't say never. I mean, a Jeopardy computer is doing natural language.
Yeah, all right. I deal in absolutes.
It's getting better, certainly.
Ah, damn it. I was trying to set you up for a Star Wars reference.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Cut. But no, so, you know, all these online translators are great, but a lot of sites also already have a built-in English version. So, you know, when you go to a website, take a peek around. So look around for a little flag that... Look for a flag for a country that would speak some form of English. If you click on that, you'll probably get an English language version of the website. Hotels are very good about this. Tourist sites are very good about this. If you do some tiny little, like, bakery on the corner website, it probably won't have that. Then Google Translate is the way to go.
And just for you web developers out there, it turns out localization is actually very easy. Just for little things, you just do these .lo files in a Django or Ruby app and some other MVC controller apps. WordPress, if you're doing it, you can add localization files. And then you can add translations of common phrases. And there are a bunch of these localization files out there that you can just add to your app and your website, and that will allow you to localize your page too. We don't do that a lot in the United States. I know, we're a little snobby, everything's in English, everyone speaks English, but it turns out it's actually technologically easy to do these websites.
That's good information for anyone. Here's the great secret with this whole thing though. If you're hitting a touristy spot, people are likely to speak English. English is kind of like, you have your local national language as the primary language, everyone's going to speak that, and then English is a very second place language. I mean, we're in Berlin, I think everybody we run into speaks English.
Well, at least some English.
Yeah, some English.
Everyone we run into speaks like 4 languages.
Yeah, which...
They have to take 2 languages in school here, starting in middle school. We don't have to start taking languages until high school, maybe, and then only 1, and then only 2 years of it. So...
yeah, so, like, most people here know a minimum of 3 languages, a lot know 4 or 5. I mean, I'm taking a class with someone that speaks Russian, Polish, German, some English, a little French. It's just,
in Europe, and pardon me, European Union, but you have to imagine that the countries here are the sizes of states in the United States, and the amount that you travel between states in the United States, that's the amount people travel between things here. But, instead of getting Creole food when you travel down south, or getting Tex-Mex when you travel to Southwest, here you have a completely different language.
Yeah, and you get Italian food. Actually, I just want to throw this out. There's kind of this sense that Americans are stupid and don't want to put in the effort to learning a second language and are lame for it. But a big reason most people in the U.S. only speak one language is simply because of geographical boundaries. In Europe, if you travel 4 hours, you've probably crossed into like 2 different countries. Everything is so close that there's this need and also super easy access to learning a second, third, fourth, 18th language. Everything's just so squished, it's natural to learn more than one language. So, I don't like the sentiment that people in America are stupid, lazy, don't want to learn a second language. It's just, there's no need. I have to travel like
3,000 miles.
Yeah, I have to travel like 3,000 miles to hit a different place that speaks a different language than English.
So, that was just, the school system is not encouraging the development of foreign languages, was my point, but, I guess I would like to encourage you to try. People, especially in Europe, maybe in Asia it's different, I don't know. My traveling in Asia has been limited to Hong Kong and southern China, but people are willing to try and listen, and if they don't have the time to, help you with the little conversation that you're having, they'll probably just switch to English or, but you can communicate effectively. Our listeners are probably reasoning, thinking adults, and you can learn to communicate. It's not that hard.
No, it's really not. Especially just getting around the city, even if you don't need to interact with people, signage is universal.
Yeah.
An arrow pointing to the left means go left, idiot. That's not something that you need to translate. Mm-hmm. And it's surprising how much German, or, well, I guess our experience is all with German. We don't have Chinese or Swahili or anything, but you can pick up a lot of German in a short amount of time and get the basics covered. You're not going to be able to talk about your favorite political figure and economic instabilities in certain markets, but you'll be able to order food, say hi, say thank you, the basic politeness things, and just trying the local language is going to get you so many brownie points that it's just, you got to do it. You got to try.
Yeah, I guess the thing is you'll be able to communicate. It's a matter of like insecurity or fear or nervousness, and just don't be afraid.
You listen to the Zipline Show. We're not afraid to make fools of ourselves for your entertainment. You shouldn't be afraid to try speaking a little bit of a foreign language.
Yeah, the connections that you make will be invaluable for your time in Europe. You know, we were at the ticket counter talking to the ticket lady, and she was such a huge help. She sent us to one of our favorite restaurants that we found here in Berlin just because we were talking to a person who lived in Berlin. We would have never found it without her. So
we barely found it with her. We're so bad at this.
That's true. We barely found it with her. But, you know, if we hadn't talked to her and spoken with her and attempted communication, we would have never had this wonderful meal of Blutwurst and Leberwurst and Wiener Schnitzel und Kartoffelsalat und
Flammkuchen.
Beer
Flammkuchen.
and Flammkuchen.
And a giant burger. Oh man. Yeah.
It was sehr gut.
Yes. So there you go. Language barrier. There are tools to help you get around it. Don't feel afraid. Just at the very least get a little translation book, learn a few phrases, and you are set to go, folks.
And then one quick note on this. If you use an international computer and you put your hands down on the keys, better look before you start typing because I guarantee you the keyboard's going to be different.
Yeah, especially in Germany, Z and Y are reversed. You have no idea how crazy that makes it.
Plus umlauts, accent grave, accent droit. There's just tons of like other crazy stuff on there.
At symbol is moved.
At symbol, oh yeah, I hated that. In British computers, the at symbol was moved after 2 years of living in the UK and using a UK computer. I had to come back to the United States and just move. And I was like, ah! So yeah, look before you start typing.
Alright, so we got just a few things here to kind of wrap out our first live studio show. First off, laws are different in foreign countries. I know, shocking revelation, right? I had no idea. No, that's not true, I knew, but ha.
It's okay, the Polizei has only come knocking on our door like 3 times.
Yeah, so, I thought it was 4.
Mostly for D&D. Drunk and disorderly.
Oh!
That's not true. Actually, we've been fairly sober compared to the Europeans that we've been associating with.
You know, I got one of those red flag moments with her. He said D&D, and I was like, what, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons too loud?
Sorry.
We were LARPing too hard in the backyard.
LARPing too hard. That's another one like ASBO.
Depending on the LARP. That's a yes. Anyway, so laws are different in Europe. I'll let Ben talk about privacy concerns, but one thing I just want to mention is that do keep in mind that freedom of speech, the First Amendment, does not exist outside the United States. I mean, European countries are obviously quite
progressive.
Yeah, they're not like third world countries. You're not going to get locked up for driving your scooter on the wrong side of the street or anything. But you know, there are limits to what you can say. In Germany, it's a crime to deny the Holocaust. You could run around doing that in the U.S. as much as you wanted because it's protected under the First Amendment. You can't do that here. So there are just some little differences like that. But in general, as long as you're not being a complete jerk, you're going to have absolutely no problem with law enforcement.
Yeah, just for some technology perspective too, privacy is a huge concern in Europe. I don't know if you heard about the Google fiasco. Google Street Van was driving around collecting wireless access point data and also taking pictures of the streets for their Street View program. They got in huge trouble with Germany, and then Canada, and then the United Kingdom, and then France, and then Italy, and then yeah, pretty much the rest of the world kind of followed suit after that.
All other countries.
Yeah, everyone was like, Google has money, let's sue them. But, you know, privacy here is a much bigger deal than it is in the United States, which is weird to say because privacy is a pretty big deal in the United States. Certainly it's a current topic. But, you know, because there's no free speech here, I think that the privacy, you have to, you know, keep what you say to yourself. And it's an important feature of European society that, you know, everything about you, your image, your name, anything associated with you is completely protected by the law. So what that means is, you know, in a social setting, you have to be a bit careful. Like, for instance, you don't just start calling people by their first names. No, it's Herr Keller, Herr Schroeder, you know, not Bill and Ted. You know, I think that's kind of an American thing. But that sort of falls into these privacy guidelines. But, you know, that also means that you have more of an expectation of privacy just when, you know, you're at an internet cafe or something. That doesn't mean don't use security. That just means be aware of privacy concern.
One neat thing about privacy is that, like, especially with advertising in the United States, it's all opt-out. Basically, if you give your information to somebody, they can use that however they want within their terms of service. And if you don't want them to use your information, you have to explicitly say, hey, don't use my information. In Europe, it's the opposite. It's generally opt-in. Companies that collect your information cannot use it for anything unless they expressly get your permission to give to advertisers, send you, little newsletters or whatever. I mean, it's an entirely different paradigm as far as privacy is concerned over here.
Mm-hmm. So also be a little bit aware when you're snapping pictures of people. Could be interesting.
Yeah, try to keep people out of your photos. I mean, for your average person, if you take a picture of someone, oh no, it's not that big of a deal, but just, don't go around like following somebody with a camera. That kind of falls into the don't be a jerk thing too. I mean,
right.
Just, be polite in the country you're visiting and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I usually use the 3/4 face rule. If there's 3/4 of someone's face in the shot, then, just wait for them to turn a little bit more. So generally when there's like people behind you, you're not going to get 3/4 of the face. When they're just walking by or they're like sort of half looking at the camera, you're not going to get 3/4 of the face. But if you do get full 3/4, then no good.
Yeah. So there you go. You want to talk about the firewall in China at all?
Yeah, and also just internet usage is different here. Different places have different laws. Things are a little bit more, let's say, liberal when it comes to nudity and expression in Europe, but some places are really tightly locked up. China, for instance, has a great firewall. China, you may have heard of this. You can't even go to certain sites. Especially sites that dissent against the government, so be aware of that. I think that one thing that I've noticed foreigners do, especially people that I've traveled with, is that they like to go and flaunt the fact that they're not a member of the country they're in by trying to do things that are otherwise illegal under sort of the guise of, hey, we're not from here, and our defense is either A, we don't know, which clearly you do because you're trying to get to some dissenting website, or that it just doesn't matter, that you won't get in trouble for it. And no matter your political position on the firewall of China, you should be aware that what you're doing is being watched in some countries, and they can see what you're doing, and you might actually get other people in trouble. Like if you're at a cafe or something, the owner of that cafe might have the law come down on them. So
yes, might disappear into the night.
Right. So if you're traveling in a more totalitarian sort of government, and that includes most of the Middle East, most of Africa, including South Africa to a certain extent, most of Asia, and a lot of South America, then just be a little bit more aware that the sort of the paradigm in the United States is not going to be the same universally. Okay,
so there you go. Yeah. Good. Don't be a jerk. I don't know. It's just like it's so easy to get around in a country if you're just not a jerk. Be polite. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, but also be aware, because it's also easy to do things without realizing it. And a lot of international gaffes can be laughed off. But just be aware, the U.S. Embassy is not going to protect you. There's actually the case of a guy in China who vandalized a building or something. He spray painted a building with some anti-government thing, or some human rights thing. He thought he was being a good guy. He thought the U.S. Embassy would protect him. The U.S. Embassy said, sorry, it's more important for our relationship with China that you can be punished under China law for what you did. And he got spanked publicly. I'm dead serious. 5 strokes with a cane on his butt.
Huh.
So so just be aware. Just because you're from a different country doesn't mean that the embassy from the country you're from is necessarily going to protect you, because they have to think about the state relationship, not just you as their citizen. And that's not just the United States thing. That's
all countries do that.
If you're English and you go puke in Germany, get prepared to be dealt with by German officials.
Yes. Although they probably won't care.
Well, I think they care a little bit more in Germany. I actually haven't seen quite as much puke in Berlin as I saw in London.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different drinking culture thing.
Yeah, But
anyway.
So
there you go. That's your big, amazing Berlin travel show. Oh wait, no, Ben, we still got something to do, don't we?
Oh, what could that be?
Oh, it's the secret word of the week. Oh, thought we weren't gonna do one, didn't you? All you people in the video, you can almost probably see it on my laptop screen. This is how we do things. Like when he's in the US, he's got his laptop out, except he's got his nice, gigantic, fancy Mac. And I got my Mac in Austria, we do our thing. So, secret word of the week. Going over this quickly. Deal is, you get 1 entry per week. You just listen to the podcast, make a note of the secret word, go to thezipline.show.com. We got a little tab there. It says submit the secret word. You just type it in, fill out your information, click send. You get 1 entry a week, so each month you get like 4 entries. We take all the entries for a given month, throw them in a hat, draw one out, and they get some sweet swag like the awesome... We are freaking retards. Why were we not wearing our Zipline Show t-shirts this entire time?
Oops.
God. Oh man, we really suck at this whole in-studio video thing, so forgive us. Secret word, right, forgot. So secret word of the week for this week is suffumigation. Noun, the act of fumigating, literally from below, fumigation. The act of burning perfumes, one of the ceremonies in incantation. A fume, especially a preparation used in fumigating. So, suffumigation. S-U-F-F-U-M-I-G-A-T-I-O-N. Suffumigation. That's your secret word. Hop over to ziplineshow.com, submit it, and potentially win some swag.
Yeah, you'll be able to see the t-shirt and pictures of us in such places as Checkpoint Charlie, and...
Yeah, if you haven't been to the website yet,
plots.
Go to the website, episode 20, postcard from Berlin. You seriously, I mean, it's awesome. We're awesome. We rock. Berlin rocks. Everything rocks. Oh, look, we can touch each other.
Yeah, so that's our show. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Will at @Will2041. You can follow me at @VBangfort. And definitely follow the show at The Zipline Show.
We're also on YouTube. Check us out there. On YouTube, we're just Zipline Show. No the.
And we're on Facebook. Get on Facebook, search for The Zipline Show, and that should take you to our Facebook page.
That's all the social media we got. Ziplineshow.com.
Yep. Go out there and have travel. Episode win.
Oh man, this is intense doing it with all this stuff.
I think we actually do it better. It's time to shut off.